These ladies ate worms to glow their skin. They thought they had discovered the shortcut to perfection, but their hunger for recognition opened the door they could never close. Lara, Bisi, and Nico were best friends right from their secondary school days. They did almost everything together. They shared clothes, food, secrets, even their dreams. One thing they always promised each other was that nothing would ever separate them. No matter the quarrel or misunderstanding, they always made sure to settle it before the day ended. They were inseparable sisters by choice, not by blood. After graduation, life hit them hard. Jobs were difficult to find, and staying in their small town no longer made sense, so they made a bold decision. They traveled to Lagos, the city of opportunities, to find greener pastures. But Lagos wasn't as easy as they thought. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months, and they were still struggling. They had tried everything: sales job, ushering work, even online business. Yet nothing was working. They were living in a small compound in the mainland, barely able to afford rent. In that same compound lived a very beautiful woman named Onyi. Onyi was the definition of class. She was light-skinned, curvy, and always dressed like a queen. Different cars came to pick her up almost every day. Sometimes she returned home with shopping bags full of designer clothes and wigs. The three girls couldn't help but notice her. Whenever Onyi passed by, her skin seemed to glow, smooth, spotless, and flawless. Slowly, envy began to creep into their hearts. "Can you see how fine this Onyi girl is?" Lara would whisper. "Her skin is like glass. How does she even do it?" Bisi would sigh. "Maybe she's using expensive cream, or she's just lucky." Nico, the boldest of them, would snap her fingers. "Lucky care. There's something she's using, Jare. Nobody glows like that naturally." So, out of frustration and jealousy, they decided to start buying different creams and makeups to make their skin glow like Onyi's skin. But unfortunately, everything they tried only made things worse. Some creams left rashes and burns on their skin. Others bleached them unevenly. Their knuckles turned dark, and sometimes their faces turned red. At some point, they almost gave up. Then one Saturday afternoon, while window shopping at a boutique in Yaba, they met a lady whose skin was breathtaking. She was tall, soft-spoken, and her skin glowed like she was born with light inside of her. The three girls couldn't resist, so they approached her shyly. "Please, ma," Nicole started. "So sorry to disturb you, ma, but your skin is so fine. What are you using?" The woman smiled warmly. Thank you. It's nothing special, oh. Just something I've been using for a few weeks now." The ladies looked at each other with hope in their eyes. Bisi quickly said, "Please, can you tell us where you got it? We've tried everything. Nothing works at all for us." The woman looked at their desperate faces, and after a brief silence, she said quietly, "There's a woman who sells the product to me in Balogun Market. Her shop is not easy to find, but I'll give you directions. She's trustworthy, and her creams works wonders." The three friends thanked her and were so excited when they got home. The next day, they quickly boarded a cab straight to Balogun Market. After walking through narrow paths filled with noise, sweat, and traders shouting, they finally found the shop. The woman sitting behind the counter looked experienced, like someone who had seen it all. She smiled as they walked in. "My daughters, welcome. What can I do for you?" Nicole spoke up first. "Auntie, we want something that will make our skin glow. We've used plenty of creams, but nothing works at all for us." The woman's smile faded a little. Then she leaned closer and whispered, "What I'm about to show you is not for everybody, but I can tell you girls are serious." The woman's eyes softened. She reached under the counter and brought out a slim black box with a gold label, "BioGlow Skin Renewal Kit." "This one is not an ordinary cream," she said. "It comes with a capsule. You mix it with your food. It works from inside. 7 days. Your skin will shine like glass. Mixed with food? Bisi asked, looking confused. The woman smiled like it was nothing. Yes, the capsule powder. Sometimes it looks like small worms when you pour it on stew or pap. Don't worry, they are very harmless. That's the only way it forms and works to give you a better result. Nicole's face lit up. Worms? She went further to tell them to keep it a secret, that it was a smuggled product and it cost just 45,000 naira for each set. Out of desperation, the ladies paid for it. Back at their home, their hands shook as they opened the kit. The capsule container had tiny silver pellets. When Lara sprinkled some of it into the pot of stew to try it, the flakes fell like tiny white worms, wriggling in the heat before dissolving. Bisi was so scared, but the seller's words, harmless, echoed in their ears. If the woman in the market says it's fine, then it's fine. The three ladies ate the food, rubbed the lotion on their faces and bodies before going to bed. The first 2 nights showed no changes, but on the third day, their skins changed. Their pores were tightening, their spots were fading, shining like polished glass. When they walked around the compound, people could not stop looking at them. Even Onyi complimented them. They smiled proudly and their confidence returned. They started dressing better, going out more, and soon, rich men started to notice them. After 2 weeks of using the BioGlow Skin Renewal Kit, Lara, Bisi and Nicole could hardly recognize themselves. Their skin shined truly like glass, their curves more defined, and their faces glowed even without makeup. One sunny afternoon, while they were chilling off at a classy restaurant in Surulere, sipping juice and laughing loudly, their confidence filled the room. People kept turning around to give them a second look. That was when a tall, wealthy man known as Chief Onuko walked in. His presence commanded attention. Gold wristwatch, agbada, and a thick smell of money. When he saw the ladies, his eyes widened with admiration. Beautiful angels, may I join you? He asked with a broad smile. They all smiled, and Lara, the boldest among them, said, "Of course, Chief, please have a seat." Chief Onuko quickly introduced them to his 2 friends, Chief Emeka and Mr. Tony. These men were married but swimming in wealth. The men were instantly taken by the girls' beauty. Within weeks, they showered them with expensive perfumes, phones, wigs, and clothes. Before long, they even rented a luxurious apartment for them on the island. The 3 friends had finally made it, but unknown to them, a storm was coming. Chief Onuko's wife, Madam Ebele, was no ordinary woman. She was feared and respected, a no-nonsense wife who guarded her husband like a lioness. One fateful afternoon, she walked into a restaurant to pick up food, only to see her husband dining and laughing with Lara. She didn't even bother saying a word. She simply turned around and drove home quietly. That night, she took one of her husband's boxers and went straight to her herbalist. The old man looked at the boxer, frowned, and said, "Madam, don't waste your money. The woman you're worried about will soon die. She's already marked for destruction. There's a sickness inside her that no medicine can cure." Ebele's eyes widened. "She will die?" Ho ho, ho ho. She laughed out loud. The herbalist nodded slowly. "Yes, and not just her. Those connected to her will follow." A smile crept onto Ebele's face. "Then I'll just wait," she said happily. The 3 ladies continued living large, going from one club to another, showing off their new lifestyle. People in the neighborhood envied them. "See how life can change," some people would say to themselves. But soon, the unexpected happened. One morning, Bisi woke up screaming. Her reflection in the mirror terrified her. Her once glowing skin turned pale and wrinkled. Her eyes were sunken and her body looked as if it had aged overnight with cracks everywhere. Her head went bowed also. Out of fear, Lara and Nico rushed her to the hospital. The doctors ran tests but found nothing wrong. Medically, she's fine, they said. There is no infection, no disease. But her appearance kept getting worse. When they decided to run a scan, everyone gasped in horror. There were live worms moving inside her stomach. The sight on the screen made even the nurses tremble. As the doctors and nurses tried to understand what was happening, Bisi began vomiting and crying for help. They did all they could to stabilize her. The next day, in their apartment, Lara started feeling the same pain as Bisi. Then Nicole followed. Their skin began to shrink, their glow disappeared, and their beauty faded faster than they had gained it. Neighbors who once admired them gathered outside, whispering in shock. Is this not those fine girls who just moved in? What happened to them? Their chief boyfriends were calling their lines up and down, but the ladies were so busy struggling with their lives. Their parents were called over. Tears flowed down their eyes as their daughters confessed everything. How they met a woman who sold them the BioGlow Skin Renewal Kit. How she gave them capsules to sprinkle on their food, saying it was harmless and would make their skin glow. Their parents wept bitterly. So this is what you did to yourselves? When they tried to find the woman who sold the product, her shop was gone. Neighbors in the market said she had moved away weeks earlier. Doctors suggested surgery, but warned their families that survival was only 50%. Sadly, before the surgery could be carried out, one after the other, the girls passed away. The once envious neighborhood became quiet and everyone had learned a painful lesson. Not all that glitters is gold. Some beauty comes with a deadly price. I would also like you to tell me what you learned from the story. Leave them in the comments because I will read and reply to all of them. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, share with your loved ones and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Till we meet again besties, stay safe and remain blessed.